Evening. Uh, Hugh, you wouldn't give me the password to the VP4 room so I can watch along with you while I commentate, would you? Uh-huh. Sounds good. Understood. Devo says no sound? Devo says no sound in chat.
Right, I'll start again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Mark. I've got myself muted. It is a race to 15 instead of 18, and we know why. VP4 doesn't allow you to do races to 18. Steve just doesn't listen. So it's Matt at the bottom of the screen and Semipro at the top, and it looks as if Matt has just won it. So he's going to break off.
Now you like the last two balls break here, right?
Well, there's a break that will work if you get it right. Now, if you look,
just the corner ball.
Yeah, you see how narrow he went, though. He went narrow, so he's going to finish in between the green and brown. If you get the line right and you hit that kitchen line, or the bolt line as we call it in snooker, you can finish behind the green. You won't get it right all the time, and if you also get the break right, two reds go to the side rail and they block one another usually.
Semi in with the first long pot. It looks like he's on the black, and the blue, not the pink. Might have to move his cue ball a bit.
This might end up in nothing unless he has a red up the table.
Pretty straight up the table.
Well, see, that red that he is on, he's got a choice of two. He could come back for the blue off the one that's to the left of the pink or the right of the pink, depending on how you're looking at it. Now he's got a chance to hit the pink and split the reds. This is the professional way of opening the reds. Stephen Henry perfected this, but he's choosing to pick the reds off rather than being too aggressive early on. Probably just trying to get something on the board.
Looked like there might possibly be a plant that he was worried about on a red if he had gone hard into the pink. Or maybe he was just opting to pick off the open ones.
Well, this is a bit fiddly.
Tough to judge from this close to this ball. And he missed it.
He's missed it, but what's he got away with? Well, he's left a red into the middle. I don't think whether he can see enough of this one. Maybe he can, but he's dead straight.
I think he's got enough angle he could follow forward 2 rails. But maybe the black might just barely take that away. I don't know.
That looks way too straight. I mean, he could easily bend round the black and pot it. The question is whether the spin would actually bring the cue ball out to have a pot in the black.
He's decided to make a confident choice playing on the blue here. Center of the pocket.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's the thing about the default camera position I've got will always have the lampshade in the view. If I go with the other camera, which is that end, let me default it again, hang on. Yeah, if I go with that end, like that, that's from the opposite end of the table. I mean, it's only when there's action happening at the top of the table that you need to worry about it, because that's if a lot of reds ended up down in the bulk area. At the moment, it's fine.
He opened up the pink spot with that shot.
Yeah,
doesn't really gain anything by putting the pink back on its spot.
Yeah, what he needs to get rid of is that red that's in the left-hand corner pocket. He needs to get rid of that because that's blocking the path, and I think he's blocked himself again.
Well, that he did.
See, now he's got himself in a wee bit of pressure here because he's got to go all out for that red up the table. The problem with it is that he's running into the reds, and then this other one's a cut into the middle pocket, which you don't want to be taken on. That's a good shot.
Very good shot.
But he has to, his priority now is to get rid of that one in the corner, and then it frees up the black. And he could stun up to the red, just to the bottom right of the pack of reds there. If he hits it, he's fine. Well, he's going a different direction, but I'd be getting rid of that red there. Yeah, well, he can still do it. And the pink's now open into the side pocket on the right side. And he's looking in a good shape at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to take the pink and then clear off that red just below it, or just to the side of it.
I've got 2 WhatsApp messages, probably from Semipro. Yeah, he said we did request Beach House. I don't remember them saying it, but anyway, he's probably right. I should have done it because I don't think you've got the lampshades in it.
Also, it seems like the lighting is a little different.
Yeah, the lighting's different in every room. If you go into the hog pen, I mean that's and you look at the balls, they're a sort of cloudy colour. There's not as much sheen on the balls.
That's definitely the biggest difference to me.
Welcome to Michael. So match break goes to 42.
Now, Semi's Mr. 147 in this game, but I noticed that in their head-to-head games against each other, Matt has the higher break.
Well, I'll see. There's a Semipro has a problem. I'll tell you what it is. The problem is that Matt, in terms of virtual pool, bear in mind that Matt has been around as long as I can remember in VP3, and Matt's had an awful lot of match play in snooker. Semi's problem is he doesn't get a great deal of match play, and by that I mean he spends most of his time trying to get matches. I avoid them because I don't want to get and get panned. I'm at no standard. I'm at no standard to play them. I would play them if I was good enough to beat them, and I used to do that, but I can't now. But anyway, Semi's problem is he spends most of his time in a room, busting the reds open and making as big a break as he can. The problem with it is it's not match play, and that's a different kettle of fish, because you've then got, watch that cue ball, I think he's okay. You've then got to get the tactical side sorted out. So
not only that, but the reds that he starts with are never really spread in a match the way they are.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Because Matt's not going to be setting everything up for him. That's a different thing. So when you're in match play, you've got to get your head screwed on and bring all aspects of the game to the table. I will say one thing sort of against Matt. Matt is very attacking, and you've got to know when to wind it in. He is very attacking. Again, this probably comes more from the 9-ball side of things. Matt's from the UK, but most Americans that play snooker, I've noticed, they've just got a simple philosophy of wanting to pop balls all the time, and they usually pay the price because of it. But let's see how this pans out, because I think Matt, in terms of match play experience, has probably, and I'm talking in virtual terms, I'm not talking about whatever happened in real life, he's got more experience that way than what Semi has. So this is a good contribution to start the match. 67 and counting. And there's a commentator's curse. So there's now 43 left in the table. So what is he?
A 49 point, a 49 point.
So Semi needs to keep this last red in the table. That's the first priority. So he's potted the red. He's coming down for the black, but he's now got a good opportunity if he pots the black to nail Matt behind that pink and go for the snooker. He's in a good shape here to give him good control here, because all the colours are on the spots. And if he can nail this behind the pink, Matt's in trouble.
He played nice position for the safety you called.
There isn't, Mark.
Ooh,
now,
didn't get it.
Oh, he's fluked it. Well, that's what you don't want, and that's what can happen in snooker.
I mean, he can now play a lock-up safe for the yellow, but
yeah,
he can't really afford not to get points from a color in this shot.
He's in trouble now, Semi. But of course, the other thing is as well, you've got to remember we're playing professional settings here. It's normal, foul and miss. But that doesn't come into play at this stage because Semi needs snookers. So if Semi lays a snooker and Matt misses it, he isn't forced to retake it. That's part of the rules of snooker. So Matt he may well forfeit 4 points here, but he won't be made to continue to take the same shot. Semi will have to make a choice of either playing a shot himself or allowing Matt to go back in. Now, what could happen here is he could leave a free ball, but at the pace he's playing, he's not going to leave a free ball, and that was a good hit.
He's not going to give up any points either. So Semi has a very uphill battle.
Yeah, well, it is a first to 15 frames, Brainful, but we won't be playing to 15 tonight, I don't think. we'd all planned out it was going to be like the World Snooker Final. That's what I had in my mind until we realised. Well, I realised when I was set in the room earlier on, just testing, that you don't go to 18 in VP4. I said that to Steve years and years ago, and he still ignored me. He has it jumping up from 10, and then 15, 25, and whatever else. That looks pretty good. Now, that's the thing.
You can see the edge.
Yeah, you can see it, but whenever your opponent's needing snookers, the best thing to do is to put them in a snooker.
Yeah.
And really kill the game.
It's a lot harder to kick safe than it is to play safe. Well, also there are 4 snookers required, and
yeah, this is over.
Seems like even if Matt does all the wrong things, he could still win from here.
Yeah, this is just to see if we can run the colours now.
Yeah.
Now, a reminder to any, I've mentioned this before, and my excuse at the time was a dodgy mouse, which it was dodgy. It was my good mouse that I had in VP3. I had it for years, and it was playing up. But anyway, I played Matt in the Virtual World Snooker Championships, and he beat me 10-1 in the first round. And I was I played to the death. I was desperate to win a frame. But yeah, he's a very dangerous player. So, first blood to Matt. Now let's see how this break goes. Now he's got it very narrow. That's just almost on the middle pocket there. So he's getting way too much right hand spin in the cue ball.
And look at this snooker behind the yellow he's set up.
Oh yeah, he's going to be nailed here. But again, the thing with this is, and it's the same principle in VP4 9 ball or any other pool game, you need to get that cue ball tight to the object ball. In this case, you're then forcing Semipro to go at least 2 rails to try and get to this pack of reds, or to put loads of right English like he's doing. He's just got enough angle here, I think, to get that spin working. And that's a good hit.
Yeah, excellent speed.
Now, I don't know whether... well, I was going to have a quick look there to see if Matt could skim that pack of reds and run back down to Bolt, but maybe he didn't think so.
I don't know. They're playing shots faster than I can evaluate shots right now.
Well, the problem now is, if this was in a real life game in professional snooker, with that red being up near the blue, the pros will do everything to keep the cue ball at this end of the table unless they're given an opportunity to get a shot that will take them into bulk. And then, of course, you would get to the stalemate situation where both players agree that this is going nowhere fast, and they'll have a re-rack. I don't remember you saying the beach house, and if you did say it, I totally ignored it, Semi. I wasn't paying any attention to what room it was meant to be in, and I think you've got a point. I think it would have been better to be in the beach house.
Well, Semi's got his excuse ready then.
So. Well, that's it. He's got that out. He's got that out on the table straight away after the first frame.
It's an important part of the game. You got to get those excuses ready.
Yeah. So now this is an easy safety. This is a safety every good snooker player will get every day of the week. Side rail.
I think he's playing the brown.
Oh, he's on that for brown. I never even noticed he potted a red there. I was looking at the chat. I thought he was playing a safety off the 2 rails into the back of the pack.
Yeah, he got a red. Matt's potting looks pretty dialed in here.
Yeah, see that. That took everything out the cue ball hitting the pink. Now, what you do now is when this cue ball's running down there, the first thing you do in every game of snooker is, before you play your shot, when there's a whole pack of reds, you have a look at everything to check there's no combinations on. And likewise for Semi, when he comes to the table, and he's going to be limited in what he can do here. And let's have a look and see if there's anything on. Well, there is a possible
lined up to the
combo
left corner, but he can't really access them. So,
and that was a poor shot by Semi, because he should never have been hitting the pink. I think he's got away with it. There is a possible 3-ball combo, and I think let's have a look.
There's like a ball width between those last two balls, though, so I'm not sure that that's...
I don't think the first red will get to those two reds. I think it's stuck on the other red.
Oh, this bottom one actually goes through past the black.
No, it was tough.
On, but he missed it.
Cue ball's going in the right direction, though.
Very much so.
That's it. A sort of 2-in-1 shot. And then, if he wasn't happy, had he potted that red, if he wasn't happy with the brown, he could have just stuck him right behind that pink.
And the brown took away that same soft kick that Semi played earlier, so he had to go 2 rails this time. Judged it pretty much perfectly, it looks like.
Again, there's no route back to bulk here. What was that break in the first frame? 65? I think it was something like that.
Might have only been 61.
62, I thought it was 65. Well, it was 60 odd anyway. It was enough to seal the frame. Just trying to get to this back cushion.
Semi says the table play is much different. It's the same table.
Yeah.
It's different lighting.
So, the poor safety this time was from Matt. Sending red down over the bulk, right hand corner pocket. Semi's dead straight in the pink. Needs to avoid the knuckle, or it might have done him a favour.
Yeah, it didn't hurt him really. He might have too much angle here to hold for the black.
He's just trying to nurse it in and hold it.
Yeah, well done with all the inside there. The check. I need to get my British terminology right if we're doing snooker.
Oh, that's going to leak away too far. Now this is something that the pros wouldn't do, is take that red that's cuttable into the corner, because the cue ball's running straight into the pack, and you've no guarantee you're going to have a shot on a colour. What you would do is do what he's about to do and thin off the red and run to the long grass and not hit the blue. But if you hit the blue,
the hazard.
Yeah, if you hit the blue like that though, it doesn't do you any harm. Again, quick look at the bunch.
Hit it half ball.
I don't think there's anything doing in that bunch of reds. So that's the black now, I think, almost tied up. It does still go into the one corner pocket.
Don't imagine Matt was happy to have left him that close to his work, though. But doesn't really get punished for it.
Now, the danger here is he's going for the pot here. And again, this is riding your luck that you'll have a shot at a colour. Again, there's no guarantee you're going to get this cue ball out. And you end up like that. I mean, the obvious shot is to play the black, but to actually, he's trying to skim it and duck for cover again. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, if he hits it thin enough, which he did.
Needs to avoid the blue. Now, a shot to nothing here, as we call it in snooker. The red above the black. Play that as a pot, but bring the cue ball back to baulk. And if you get lucky, you may well be on a baulk colour.
Hitting the yellow full was not what he was hoping for, though.
Yeah, that's the cardinal sin for every snooker player, whether you be amateur or professional. Going back to baulk, running into a baulk colour. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, the top players control that line going past the baulk colors so well. They'll pick one to get behind on that kind of shot.
These reds, they're not perfect, but they're all sitting wide open in the sense that they're not locked up. So it's about picking your way through them. Black does go.
Looks like the pink doesn't have either corner pocket, which...
He's dead straight on this black. And I don't know whether he can just run through. He's looking at the pink into the side. I think that's why he's refused the black, because he could only go forward on the black. Now that's got him in shape now.
Well, if he didn't like playing position on these bottom two reds when he was dead straight on the black, then he's not going to like it any other time before he develops them either.
Well, this is not great where he's got himself to now. I'm looking to see if that red goes. That red is very tight past those two. The thing is, though, that those two reds behind the black, if he can pick his way through these reds, he won't need any of those two reds behind the black anyway. He would have Matt needing snookers.
Matt's got to feel good that Semi is frantically shaking the mouse after only one frame.
Welcome to Cobra.
Something to remember about those displays of frustration is sometimes they will only make your opponent stronger.
I'm just reading Brainfillout's message in the chat. What's the difference between this and the Beach House in terms of gameplay? It's just the lighting. That's basically it.
Yeah, there's only one snooker table in VP4. So.
Yeah, there's no physical difference as to whether you play in Loch Lomond or whether you play in Hard Times or whether you play in Beach House. The only difference is the one that you most commonly play in and the one that you're used to all the time, in which case for semi-pro that's the Beach House. Well, unfortunately, if you're playing professional snooker, you go to tournaments all over the world. But the lighting in the professional game's pretty much standard on the TV tables. But VP4 it's different, so you'll get different reflections in the balls that might interfere with your aiming line and that sort of thing, or your eye perception and how you see the ball. But that's the only difference. There's not a physical difference. Well, that red is hung up.
Oh.
It's a 45-point lead, and there's still, 59 in the table. So this would be, and it's a run of 42 for Semi, but he hasn't got himself over the line, but this would be It'll be a sore one to take if Matt can find his way out here.
Frame is ripe for the pinching.
Now, this is clever because it's sensible as well, because he's going to take these two reds on this bottom cushion here, leave the red up table as a bailout if there's anything goes wrong here.
Oh no, that went wrong there.
And that's went wrong.
But he is on the one up table.
He could have been a wee bit more aggressive there just to make sure he was bumping the ball out of the way.
Yeah, I would have liked to hit the red he hit, but full and firm.
And I don't know whether that's that great either, because he's dead straight in the brown.
Is he all the way straight? Ooh,
Yeah,
he is.
He is dead straight. Now, this is where you've got to then weigh up the pros and cons of trying to do something miraculous here, when it's far easier to play a decent safety. Now, that needs a lot of bottom left English in the cue ball to get it tracking. And now he'll be thinning off that right side of the red.
Oh, he could play it.
Well, he's going for the pot, but again, he really should be ducking for cover here. I mean, this is what I said about Matt. He'll go for everything, but you've got to wind it in sometimes. And if he misses this red, he's lost this frame.
Those ones along the rail, though, is where this table plays a lot easier than a real professional snooker player. He caught the near jaw on that pot, and it still went. You don't see that happen on TV when, Ronnie is playing Judd Trump. They don't drop.
So Matt's trying to work out the mathematics here. He's what's Steve doing? I'm on the stream.
Speed of cloth is different and cushion bounce. Semi insists, but Steve could confirm. I think that is fiction.
Right. Let me just. He's decided to bail. He'll come into the stream, into the. What do you call it? If he's got anything to say. Anyway, I've lost track of what's happening here. I'm getting distracted. Right.
Well,
what happened here?
Matt played a tight safety behind the yellow after doing the math to figure out that he could afford it. And Semi kicked two rails toward the red, potted the black instead. And Matt has played a similar but less tight safety. Semi hits the black again.
And that's
he's going to have to play from here.
This frame's over in a minute or two.
Not necessarily, because as much trouble as Semi's in, he could still find himself shooting the red before Matt does.
That sounds like Steve's got the mic up his nose again. Or is that you here, Pig? Did Steve come in?
I don't know. It could have been me, I guess. I don't see Steve here, so.
Oh no, I thought he'd come in.
Didn't mean to be heavy breathing on everybody.
This is the thing about foul and miss. You've got to learn from your first shot. Yeah, this is why you've got to pay attention to what you're doing.
This time he left the red on, so now is when this frame starts to end.
Well, he's under control here, and of course the one thing that's going to maybe save Semipro here is where the yellow is. The yellow's not going anywhere fast.
I'm a little surprised he didn't play that softer to hold for the black.
Yeah, he's just ducking for cover here behind the pink and brown.
I guess he didn't really want to be the first one to shoot the yellow.
Oh, he doesn't want to pot the black, though.
No, he doesn't. Not at all.
Well, that's a two-way shot. He's within 1 point, but now he's in trouble. It's amazing how things can go. So now he's got to get his way out of the snooker. He's got to make sure he moves these balls if he can. It looks a good line. Oh, that was unlucky.
A little short. Hairpig's nose whistle, Steve says. Sorry, guys.
Oh, there he is. He's in the stream. I thought he'd come into Discord. That's why I thought it was Steve's nose I was hearing. By the way, Steve, I mentioned this about 20 years ago. You need to have VP4 to allow you to go from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, then 20. Not 15 to 20. We wanted to do a race to 18 here and we can't do it. Anyway.
Doesn't seem like it'd be too hard to make that a text box instead of a number picker.
That's a bit short again, I think. He's missing it by the same margin each time. Well, this is going to be a high scoring frame.
He needs some check, I think, on the ball to actually hit that side of the side pocket.
That's better.
But leaves it on.
It's now left on.
That's not a great cue ball, but it just got there anyway.
Now, it needs a bit of left hand side just to check the cue ball and keep it into a line that you'll still have a shot, and that is perfect. Again, it's just a roll through, but must have that angle to come down to the middle of the table.
He's got that much angle and then some.
He's overcut it.
Oh no, and there's 12 on, or no, sorry, that is 22. The lead, so snooker's still required for Matt.
Yeah, it's a tall order now to do that with just the two balls on the table. He's trying to keep the blue on the table. He's
done pretty well, but he's overrun it.
Now, this is a thin feather touch on the left side of the blue. He got that a bit too thick. He still left it reasonably safe. But if he'd got that, the thinner edge on the blue, he was heading down towards the black. Now, what Matt would really want to do is to somehow get this blue in amongst the pink and black, and that way it gives him a better chance to get a snooker. At the same time, he has to keep the blue safe.
There's half a chance at it. Will Semi try to pot it from here?
He may well just try and get it over the pocket. You know, in or over will do, and that seals the frame.
Yep. And that frame looked like it was all going Matt's way until he potted the black on that one attempt, on that one safety, which was a good safety other than potting the black.
So, we're all square. Now let's see if he gets this. Let me get up there and get my mouse to work. Yeah, the line that he's got there again is just a bit too much of right hand side, because he's coming in a narrower line to the side rail, and that's of course left the red exposed.
Now the last time that Semi got in off the opening break, he was running the balls well until he had to split the pack open, and he got himself in trouble.
Now, he hit that spot on the pink. He could have done with a better roll of the ball. He's still got a red, but he's hampered in between the pink and red. And the other problem is he's running into the other red as well. You've got to rely on a bit of luck. He was trying to draw off it as well, but he couldn't guarantee where the cue ball was going. And that might be in sort of no man's land along blue.
I bet he'll go ahead and play the long blue. Oh my. He couldn't have missed that by much less.
Yeah, they're not easy.
He caught basically a molecule of that near jaw, and it was enough to hold it up.
Let me try something with the cameras. Hang on a minute. Camera. Let's see if that makes any difference. Right, that's it now. That's got rid of the light. Excuse me. That's better, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that definitely looks better. Meanwhile, after the one blue didn't drop, these balls are all sitting nicely for Matt.
Now, that camera setting that I had it on, that's the sort of TV camera where it focuses from the other end of the table. Because it's been defaulted, it ends up in the bulk end of the kitchen, as you guys call it. And so you're looking at snooker in an unconventional TV way from the wrong end of the table. But you don't have the lampshade in the way.
That was a nice one from Matt. The red was not easy, and he held the cue ball very well.
Now, this is playing into an area. If he goes forward and comes around, he comes around far enough, he'll miss the pink and be on a red into the corner, I think, or if not, one into the middle. Now, he's not hit it quite as hard. So he's now in the red down the cushion, but if he'd hit that harder, he could have out to about there. In fact, that red's a bit tight. He might have been in a gap where he could have took this red or that red into the side. So he's taking the one into the side. Now, all the major colours are in play here. Pink is in the open, black's on its spot, blue's on its spot. He's got a little problem in a little while when he's picked off these reds, because you've got two sets of two stuck together, more or less.
Yeah, the ones in the rack area are the issue.
Yeah, the camera setting you're looking at now is more for like pool, because obviously when it's the pool table and it's 9-ball they're playing, it doesn't really matter what end of the table you're at. In snooker coverage, the cameras focus mainly at the black end of the table where all the action usually happens. But if Matt minds his work here, he could. What you've got to think about as well is getting an angle either on the pink. Now, if he comes up top here and gets an angle in the pink, he can then run into the reds. If he finishes lowish on the black or square on the black, he can then stun into the reds. And now he's got. Well, if he takes the top red to the right of the pink, he's coming back for the blue. If he takes this one in the rail, he's just dropping it in. Now, he wants to finish, ideally he wants to finish a bit square in this black. Let's have a look. Now, you see that angle he's got in the black is perfect if he wants to risk it. If he wants to go to win the frame, he can get into these reds here.
If he hits the bottom one half ball, he opens both pairs.
Yeah. Even if he landed in the middle of them, he's bound to nudge two of them out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, he's still got a pot. It's just a wee bit close for comfort to read that angle. He's bailing out up table for the blue. And this is, I mean, I can remember, I could confidently say this when I used to play in VP3 that this. I mean, I would say to myself, this table's getting cleared up because I was so confident at moving the cue ball. I just don't have that confidence at all nowadays. But this table was getting cleared up if it was me at the table 20 years ago. And Matt's well capable of just tidying this up. This frame's over, provided he can get.
They don't really pass each other into the same pocket that he's shooting the black in here, so he's got to, I think, stun into the middle of them again.
Oh, he's got on the red, but he's forgot about the black, and commentator's curse has done him again. The break ends in 56. It's a 49-point lead, and there's 59 in the table. Loads of left-hand side to bring that cue ball away from the reds to make sure he can get on the black. However, that isn't the problem. The problem is he might pot the black with left-hand side again, but he's got to get into a spot where he can play that red. Now, if he pots out the black runs through, he'd need to put left-hand side on it to bring it back this way so he can still play the red, unless he's trying to get lucky. You see, he's trying to get lucky, and that isn't something that you can always rely on. You have to try and play the more accurate positional shot to get on the lower part of that red. And, well, now Semi's got to be careful. And this is going to be a shot on for Matt unless he can get covered behind a ball colour, and he hasn't.
Oh, and that's probably frame over right there.
See, this is the sort of thing that I'm talking about in match play snooker. You've got to get the safety side of it worked out a lot more than just potting balls all the time. Now, let's
bump the one red out of the way in order to hold for the other. No, roll through for the lower one. All right, very nice.
Well, the good news is Larry finally decided to sign up for the cribbage this afternoon.
And what would you do without him, really? And what was this cue ball position?
Well, he doesn't need to worry about it.
I'm not sure that was a good hit, though.
No, it probably is a foul, but I don't think he's going to worry too much.
No, he certainly won't.
Well, you know my next line, Semipro. My next line is get used to it. That's the next line.
Yeah. Get used to it. And really, if you can only play a game on one table, then...
I mean, I in some ways I agree with Semipro because I hate the Loch Lomond room. I just hate the halo of light on the balls.
And Semi hit that ball like a frustrated man.
Well, Semi blown a gasket already, and we're only into the fourth frame.
I don't know that he's doing himself favors by coming into the stream chat to argue about the table. I think focusing every ounce of effort on forgetting about the table would have been maybe the more effective move.
Yeah, they're off. They're off next. Well, I'll say that again. The English schools don't go up until August. Is that right? But up here, they're off next week, I think, for 6 weeks.
My kids have been out of school for 2 weeks, and some parts of the U.S. they end in May.
What, the summer vacations in May? God, we've still got snow in the mountains here.
a lot of places they finish up in late May and start up again in mid to late August.
Well, I know that in Scotland they go back. They usually go back the day after my birthday. Usually round about that. So it's about August the 19th of that they go back after their 6 week break.
Well, that's a short break.
6 weeks, a month and a half.
No, I mean it's a longer vacation than we adults ever get, but kids get forever off.
Oh yeah,
around here.
Well, this is where Matt's long-term VP experience comes into play, because he'll just play. He won't change. He won't do anything different.
Matt looks steady.
Well, he's picking his way through these reds, building up a healthy lead already.
See, those two reds together don't seem like they're gonna. Maybe the bottom one can be made. It'd be hard to get position on it.
Now, again, it's a question of what he's thinking of doing with the cue ball here. You don't want to put too much on the cue ball and then sacrifice the pot because of it. But that's a good shot, in the sense that he's on the red now. He's got
the one below the pink out too.
Yeah, these are the tough ones to judge. Running through off this red behind the pink to stay in the black, and how much to hit on it. He's played it pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, those two reds that you're talking about, if he plays his cards right, he won't need to worry about them.
Very true.
He can try and pick his way through what's here. Now, he's just a bit too close to the cushion. He's sort of in no man's land with that shot. He didn't want to risk doing a great deal with the cue ball. He's left himself a slightly tougher black. If he pots the pink, he's running into the red and doesn't know whether he'll have a shot after it, and it's probably unlikely he would. And if he pots the black and the cue ball just runs up the table, he might have to rely on trying to get that bottom red in those two, and it might be a good idea. Oh, he's missed the black and he's actually overhit it. Cue balls would have been snookered on that bottom red, and Semi-Pro's got nothing.
Doesn't have a shot. Yeah, it's if you're gonna miss a pot, miss your position too. I guess is the lesson.
Well, the thing is, Semi's now got to knuckle down and get mean and dirty. He's got to try and frustrate Matt. This is all part of the game. It's all the nature of the game. You're only trailing by, you're trailing by one frame. The possibility is that you're going to be trailing by two in a few minutes. But there's still enough reds in the table to win this frame. This frame isn't over, so...
Do you go 2 rails behind the brown here?
Well, he's actually tried to double that, which is a sort of no-no in snooker. Not unless you've won the frame.
Well, the nice thing about it is it meant he got his cue ball over to this side of the table where there are no shots available. So, well, there are really no shots available on anything other than the one he was hitting anyway.
This is a dangerous one. Yeah, well, he's cut it to make sure he wasn't running it into the red behind it. But he needs to get the cue ball awkward like that to cause problems for Matt. That red passes the black, and he's slightly hampered.
Not too bad though. He's not jacked way up in the air.
So the lead's 55 plus whatever colour, and I think his only option is really the brown. I mean, he can play the blue past the black if he wants to, but the brown is dead straight. He may well be forced into taking the blue. Yeah, it's dead straight, the brown.
55 ahead. I might be trying to leave the cue ball behind the yellow here and not pocket a ball.
Now, if he finishes on the bottom cushion here behind the yellow, I don't think he's leaving much on. But he's trying to.
He nominated the blue.
He's made a mistake there. He hasn't. He's hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, with the auto colour choice in VP4, Matt's hit the button instead of hitting the S button where you're about to shoot and it automatically chooses a colour for you. He's hit the number button and he's hit the 5 in mistake, and that could be a big unforced error. Mistake in Matt's concentration there. Semipro has got the table at his mercy, and this might settle Semipro down if he can take the benefit of Matt's error. Big mistake. And Matt's probably scratching his head wondering what's going on. He might not have worked out what's happened here yet.
Yeah, he didn't say anything in the game chat about it, but obviously he never intended to shoot the blue, so it was definitely just a technological error.
This red that's on the cushion isn't a problem because it's actually not on the cushion. If you can get good on it, that's
sure not good on it.
The pinks, of course, spotted, blocked the red, and Semi's got himself in trouble. So he's just going to push this red over to the other one. Now he's trying to pot it. Now again, you see what I'm saying about. I mean, it's all very well being frustrated. You've got to play the game. You've got to play the percentage shot. There was a safety on there, and he went all out for a really over-ambitious pot in the red when he should have just ducked for cover. And his chance to rescue this frame may well have just gone out the window because of that. Well, Matt's hung the red. And Semipro, you're not going to get him any more chances at this. And I think it's time that you pulled your finger out and got this job done when you've got this many invitations to the party.
Why would he draw back like that also?
Well, he wants to get behind the red. That's the priority here. You have to get good behind the red. The red, I mean, if the red was stuck to the cushion, it's a much more difficult pot. It's off the rail, and he just wants to get behind it like this, and then he can have the red and black to follow, but needs an angle to come back up for this yellow. All the colours on the spots, pretty much apart from the green. And how does that look? That will do very nicely indeed.
All right.
And, well, that's a black missed off the spot.
And now getting position on the yellow is something he did as a favor to McClarky.
Well, he's had 2 good opportunities to pinch this frame, and he's blown both of them. And he may well not be getting a third opportunity.
Michael Heisman reassuring Semi that he's good enough to adapt, and I'd certainly agree. Semi's one of the best players in the game, so what he needs to do is remind himself of that fact, not focus on frustration or table conditions.
Yeah, we've got to bring all the factors to the table. Good safety, good shot choice, sensible shot choice, I would say. Trying to cut that red into the side pocket was not sensible when you had a much easier opportunity to play a half-decent safety.
Yep, I agree. That was frustration will put blinders on you when it comes to finding the right shot a lot of the time.
Well, that's going to finish behind the brown. That's a pretty good shot.
I'm not sure he can see a red at all.
No, he's going to have to. And again, the yellow's blocking the line for the 2 rails into the back of the pack. He's just trying to get a feather edge of the red. Played it with left-hand side, kicked it behind.
He wasn't trying to kick it, though. He was
he was trying to just catch a feather edge of it. And he might have got lucky here, though.
Well, the red in the middle goes, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Again, that red into the side pocket, you'd never take that on because, again, you have no clue where the cue ball's ending up.
And you leave everything on if you miss it, most likely, because you spread the reds open.
Oh, that hit on the knuckle. Well, it's left nothing easy. Again, a perfectly simple safety shot here for Semipro. Or is he going for the thin cut? Yes. It was off the rail. It was actually quite comfortable, that shot. Well, I have to say, in all honesty, I don't remember any part of a conversation that said on the beach house. It might have been said in a line somewhere along the line, but I don't remember reading it. And I wish I had set it in the beach house, so we wouldn't have this bloody problem with the lampshade. See, it's a whole different kettle of fish when all the reds are all bunched in the pack, and you're having to work. You're actually having to play snooker. And, this is what I call playing snooker, rather than busting the reds open just so that you can make high runs. It's not match play, and this is what I was talking about before this thing started. And Semi's sorely lacking in a lot of match play, where you actually have to start working. It's easy enough to pot reds and colours when they're all over the table. It's a lot more difficult when you have to create opportunities.
Well, I think he created one here. This angle on the blue should... Oh, no.
I haven't heard this for a little while.
So I think that's to your point, Hugh, is that
wrong button.
That angle on the blue to smash into the pink to open up the reds.
It was actually a bit
very standard snooker shot that if he was playing more match play, he'd be used to playing all the time.
Yeah, but it was actually a bit too high, as we would say. It was just a bit too much angle in the blue there. And Matt's had a blast.
Wow.
So Semi's been reprieved. He's got off lightly. It hasn't cost him anything. He's still got the same lead he had when he left the table.
And he's straight in on a red, and he's got more reds open than he did before he missed. So
he's just gone again a bit too far. He would have liked to have been better on the blue. He can play this with a little bit of right. And again, he's had a blast. And see, that was just there was no control over that shot. It was it was as if he damped it up there.
And he's a good enough player to get a shot that he's going to be able to handle on the reds without having to do that.
Yeah, and I think he can also consider himself lucky that he hasn't left anything easy for Matt. Matt's just going to have to run for cover. And you don't want to hit the brown. He's going to skim in behind the green. Nope. Well, Semi's got an easy safety here off the red behind the pink. And he wants a bit of right on it, but not too much. But he's just hit it plain ball. A little bit of right in that would have brought him in between the blue and green and onto the ball cushion here. Likewise for Matt. Matt is probably going to be playing this red here, and he doesn't want to push it onto the other red and knock it over the pocket. So he's hit it nice and thin, but he's also brought the red through the gap.
He did get a kiss on the cue ball, sending it further over to this side rail, making that a very thin cut, which could have caused Semi problems, and yet it did not.
So black doesn't go. The pink.
He's on the pink.
Is very tight whether he can make that potting angle in the pink.
Oh, I think he's got plenty of room.
I think he just got it. Yes, he did. But has he got another red? Red into the side and red to the left of the black that he can cut. Well, he's not hit it though. He hasn't hit it.
He's certainly meant to be on the black here. As Jeremy Jones would say, that's going to be upsetting. Then again, he was already upset, so what's he got to lose?
Oh, let me have a look. Yeah, take it back, Semi. You did send me a text. I totally missed that. It says beach room, or beach house, he means. Yeah. Yeah, I totally ignored that. I've just scrolled up on my WhatsApp and I've read it. So, yes, he did. He did tell me the beach house, and I paid no attention to it whatsoever.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to look ahead and predict the future for where this run is going to go wrong for Matt. And those two reds below the pink aren't sitting good, but he's got a lot of different ways he can solve that.
Well, he can solve it right now. He could have done with running through another 2 or 3 inches here for this pink, rather than the blue, because that would have allowed him to run into those 2 reds and just open them up. I don't know whether you can do the same thing from this side. Now it needs to bounce. It needs to bounce. That's perfect. That's the problem with the 2 reds is now going to be solved. The question is whether he locks one of them up onto another one and he doesn't have a shot. And that's a nice little kiss. And now I think, does it go?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think they do.
Let's have a closer look. Nope.
He's got the thin one into the side.
Well, again, he should be doing the right thing and ducking for cover behind the brown and yellow. That's what you should be doing. I mean, he just needs to feather this red and let the cue ball run up table and duck for cover here. He's maybe a wee bit of help in left. He's putting loads of left on it.
All the left on it.
Yeah. Well, he'll settle for that in terms of Semi being slightly bothered by the brown. And Semi again's going all out for the pot. And again, there's no way I'd have went for that pot. I would have been just ducking for cover. And he's just sold the frame there.
Yeah, it looks like suicide in hindsight.
And I'll keep going back to this match play thing. I mean, when your head's screwed on and you're playing a quality player at this game, you can't go taking liberties because you're just going to get picked off here like fish in a barrel. Matt is just going to pick these off. And again, it doesn't matter what room you're in. If you're not playing the right sort of game, and you're taking on chances like that, which you really should be winding it in and thinking better of it. You're just playing straight into Matt's hands. Well, let's look at it this way, right? This match has barely started, right? So it ain't over till it's over, right? So then they have a rematch on the beach house. Problem solved. If this is a table that Matt's used to playing on, right, then let's not a table. If this is a room that Matt's used to playing on, then let's then play it in a room that Semi-Pro's used to playing it on. But my point is, regardless of the room that he's in, he has to start playing a more sensible type of game. And what I've seen so far isn't sensible. I don't care what room he's in. If he landed up in the beach house and played the stuff that he's playing right now, he's still going to do the same end of a spanking. That's my point.
Can't disagree with any of that.
Now this needs to keep running. It needs to keep going. Now once again, this type of shot here, I'm running for cover. I mean, this yellow's getting played safe somewhere. I'm not taking any risk. But Matt's, again, so attacking, he's going to go for it. If this was Larry, he'd be doing the same thing.
I think Matt might play safe here. I know I would play safe here.
Well,
my potting is terrible, so I have no choice but to play a safer style.
I know what I'd be doing. I'd be banking the yellow up the table. See, he's gone the other way, and he's got cover behind it. No, he hasn't. You see, that wasn't the safety shot there. I would have banked that. That yellow would have been banked this way, and then I'm using the green, the blue, and the pink as cover from that side of the table with the cue ball. And he's given Semipro a lifeline here that, I mean, let's be honest, everything's sitting there. You've just got to get the cue ball on the spot each time.
Well, the shot I would have played is the one Matt played, so I think maybe we both got it wrong, Matt and I.
This has got to go past the pink. I don't know whether he can hold it past the pink, off the bottom rail and back up high enough for the pink. That looks a good pace. Now this one, does he go behind the black? Again, this is where you don't want to put anything on the cue ball. You don't want to risk putting side in the cue ball, so he's just come up plain ball, try and get it as straight as possible, and he's going to steal the frame.
That's the smart way.
But where I disagree there is the safety that Matt played. The shot I would have played, I think, had a better return, because you've got a higher chance of that cue ball going behind those three balls that were sort of lined up there in the middle of the table, using them as cover. So there's only one frame in it. What's all the fuss about?
What indeed? Well, Semi changed his break-off shot.
Well, I mean, okay, it's a type of break-off shot that you rarely see in professional snooker, but it's more sensible from Semi-Pro's point of view, in that he's not leaving anything easy on for Matt to get started.
Wasn't Mark Williams playing that one recently?
Well, Steve Davis started doing it a few years ago before he retired, but Matt Williams was doing it for a little while as well. But and it's a simple fact that if you don't get cover on that baulk cushion behind one of the baulk colours, most of the young pros nowadays are potting a red if they can see one.
Yeah, I think Matt took one on, and I think he was a little unlucky not to get it.
The thing is, though, that in VP4 you can take far more liberties, because it's far easier to pot a ball in VP4 than it ever is going to be on a real snooker table. So you've got to keep those reds tight. How's the luck? That cue ball's checked off the rail. Well, he's got a red and back up for the blue.
He certainly does. He's going to have a hard time finding a second red unless he leaves an angle to go into him off the blue.
Now he's dead straight in the blue, so now he can have a look at the pack and see if there's anything set in the pack, and if not, then he just needs to look at leaving himself a good line that he can come off one of these reds and then again run for cover. Now, Matt made that mistake in that previous frame where he got the wrong choice of colour. He should be hitting the S button, and then it automatically will choose that blue. I think he's so used to what he used to do in VP3. Most players that played the game for years and played snooker were always used to hitting the button, because VP3 didn't have the auto choice of colour, and you always had to hit the numbered button corresponding to the points value of the coloured ball. So he's still not nominated the yellow yet. Now he has hit the S button. So that's a habit you need to get out of in VP4. If you don't make that choice of the colour, and then you do what Matt did earlier, you'll make that mistake on a more regular basis. You'll pot the colour that you're aiming at, but you've accidentally hit the wrong number button.
I didn't even know you could designate a color with the number buttons.
Yeah,
my hand is never that high on the keyboard, so I've never accidentally even hit those.
Yeah, you've always been able to do that since Virtual Pool 3 that I can remember. And probably, I can't remember, I mean, Virtual, I can't remember whether, but I think Virtual Snooker had it. You had to have it. But as I say, the auto-nominated VP4, you have to keep your wits about you, and you won't make those errors or that mistake that Matt made earlier on. So now that black has just been nudged here. Now there's an issue that the black will not respot if the black happens to be potted and those reds aren't moved, but we're not at that stage yet.
It looks like the pink spot is open if someone did happen to pot the black from before anything else gets redistributed.
Yeah, that'll just tie up. I mean, the pink does pot into the corner pocket, but if it gets spotted, then it's not going anywhere after that. Now, is that a touching ball? Yes, it is. So the cue ball's touching the red. So now that allows Matt to play and try and duck behind a colour.
Will he use the yellow to get behind the brown?
He may well be, but I think he's actually slightly hampered here. I mean, he can just go to 2 rails and try and get to the ball cushion. I think he's overhit that by a country mile. I mean, that is way too heavy, even though he's not left anything on, but his touch there was too heavy. He wanted to keep that in bulk, somewhere near the bulk cushion. He didn't want to be leaving. I mean, this red behind the pink, does that go? No, it doesn't.
Something that the touching ball situation in snooker and the push-out situation in 9-ball have in common is that you will quickly learn that it's way easier to control the speed on the cue ball if you do choose to hit a ball.
Well, that's true. I mean, he could have played the shot you were talking about. If he'd played the yellow and pushed the yellow into bulk and out, the cue ball's angle would have went towards the brown on the bottom on the bulk cushion. It would have been a far easier shot to play because, as you say, when you're hitting that object ball, that's going to take the pace off the cue ball.
Yep.
Cobra says if I was playing, I'd choose the law because I know Semi doesn't like it.
And he's not kidding either. Cobra would do that.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know what room Matt plays snooker in. That's one thing I don't know because I've never been in watching him playing snooker. And secondly, the fact that I did choose hard times is because it's my favourite room. That's a simple reason.
I always play with the backgrounds turned off, so I barely even ever notice what room I'm playing in myself.
Well, in VP3, I always had the backgrounds off because the backgrounds were so ugly. I mean, a lot uglier than this. I mean, the snooker table in VP3 was played in a castle.
That's a big stroke of luck.
Well,
did you see that one?
Yeah. You take what you can get.
Yep. Matt apologizes. Semi's too busy smashing his keyboard to NP.
Now, it's a little delicate shot here if he's going to try and hold on the black, and he wants to have some sort of angle in the black. Well, I think
he was delicate and he has an angle.
Yeah, he's going to have to jack up though. He's got no other shot if he pots this black.
He could draw off the pink or blue and end up with, not even the pink. That's
here's something sensible. He could pot the black and then just run for cover. I mean, when are these people going to start playing half-decent safeties? See, he's now in no man's land. He's going to look at this combo that he's too close to, and he can skim off the red that's in the middle of those three. The one that he's you know, that one there with Madonna is he can skim off that, bank it, and run for cover. He's trying the ambitious combo, which is again something he should never have been doing. But if he'd done what I said and potted the black and then just clipped off the pack, he would have left Semipro nothing. Now he's given him a pot in the red.
Yeah, certainly not a conservative shot choice. He was counting on getting some kind of better opportunity on a red than that, and did not.
It's another little testy red. But he's held all the pace off that cue ball there. That was a good shot. Now, if he misses the red that's over on the left-hand side and comes around behind it like that, again, he's just overhit it quite a bit. A bit too much power on it. He's still going to have a shot. But he's got to be then thinking about getting, again, sort of squarish on this black ball so he can do some damage. He's now gone a bit straight because he's going to have to get into these reds. Well,
he's never going to get enough energy into those from that angle.
He's done his damnedest. He's got a dodgy one into the side. And, well, he won't be leaving an awful lot. Now, this is the important one in this frame here because there's two reds that will comfortably go into this corner pocket I'm looking at. The obvious problem is he's still got to have a colour choice to get there. And looking at the pink, it's not a great angle. He's entirely the wrong angle, so he's having to work the cue ball here with loads of left-hand side. He's trying to come across and hold it. I mean, that was a good shot. And now he's got the similar problem. I don't know whether it was Semi or Matt that the same shot. He's running through off this red. And again, this time he's hit the red a lot thicker than he was thinking. And now he's left himself a tougher black.
It was Matt before, and he judged a little better.
And that's overcut.
Nothing goes in this corner right where he is.
So the run ends in 32. And I think Semi will be quite happy that he's really left one red on. Not easy.
He doesn't sound happy in the game chat.
Oh my God, I'm so shit. He's only and bearing in mind he's getting things out of perspective here. He's only 3 frames to 2 behind, and he's still 7 points in front here. This guy's slitting his wrists at the moment.
And this isn't an easy opportunity for Matt to pull out a win either. He's going to have to do some work to get on the reds.
Well, the plan is, and I think he's gone dead straight in this red, which is not what he wanted. He wanted to finish either outside or inside the red so that he could have an angle to get out across for the black. See, now he's dead straight. He can only just roll it in. The angle he's got in the black, he's going to try and get onto the bottom red of those 3.
I think he might play the pink. It might be a more natural angle to get on the same red you were saying.
It actually would. Yeah. It's again, he's stuck right on the cushion, which makes it a wee bit more uncomfortable. But it's just a natural to drop behind the red.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can use he can use the red just to hold for the black. Because again, he's stuck to the cushion, so he can only go forward. And now the table is at his mercy.
And he didn't go crazy and push that red all the way to the rail there either. It's a mistake a lot of people might make. A lot of people sitting in the same room as me right now.
Now, I'm reading what LS3 said. Surprising, Semi seems to have the worst temperament among the elite VP players when he was literally a semi-pro for a while. Yeah. He beats himself up more than anything else.
Well, LS, you should hang around more American professional pool players if you want to understand a little bit better about how pro players and bad temperaments go together.
Yeah, just think about the amount of broken pool cues. I watched a stream where, what was it? Was it the Moscone Cup? Where Earl Lepel smacked his cue in half.
Yeah.
That's why the good pros always bring a spare.
Earl's in a category of his own as far as having a bad temperament. But there are others who have weak spots there too.
When talking about weak spots, Matt's got himself out of line on the red. 20 points, the advantage now. Semi has to get this wafer thin so that the red doesn't go to the corner pocket. And that's a good shot, although he's going to leave a shot to nothing on here for Matt. I mean, he got the first part of that shot perfect in the edge that hit the red. But again, Semi-Pro's weight is way too heavy.
Oh no!
And that's the lucky break that Semi-Pro needed, because he was always going to leave Matt that shot to nothing. And it's a big ask to avoid that side pocket, but that's what can happen. And so suddenly, Semi-Pro has got the table at his mercy for 3 frames all the colours on their spots.
Would you have been thinking about that side pocket if you were shooting that red?
Well, Q? I would have actually, every time I play that shot, I always make sure that I've got something in the cue ball so that I'm going directly to 2 rails, and that takes the side pocket scratch out of the equation altogether. I've always got something in the cue ball when I play that shot, because I'm thinking it more of a safety shot than a pot. And suddenly, everything's come up roses for Semi-Pro. It's 3 frames all.
We can play on beach now, Matt says. I don't know if he's suggesting that they...
No, it's okay now.
All right. No, let's do it. Oh, we've got duck season and rabbit season changing places here.
Well, let's see what they decide to do.
Okay, go for it then. Well, they're on 3 each, so I guess that makes it a race to 15 now. If we do see an end to this match and a start of a new one in a new room.
I don't know what they're doing.
Matt's asking you to set up a race to 15 on Beach House.
Where?
In the Twitch chat.
Oh, in the stream. Let's have a look. Right, so what are you doing? The obvious thing is that you're just starting from 0-0 again. Or are you gonna scratch frames until you get to 3 all? What do you want to do?
No, if you set to 15, then they wanted 18 in the first place.
No, we could only set to 15.
Right, but since they wanted 18 in the first place and they each got 3 here, you can do 15 more in the new room.
That's a better idea of what they've just said. I mean, we've played 6 frames, but the plan was to play 8, so they might as well finish the session and then the next time we set it in the beach house. Right, okay. I think that's a better idea. Just get it done and dusted and then set it in the beach house the next time.
Sounds fine to me. They're still discussing it between the two of them. Let's let them come to a conclusion, I guess. Brain fell out. It says set it to lock. Loch. Sorry. Got to practice my Scottish.
Well, I had to teach. Who was it? Who was it in TeamSpeak? Was it Steve? Or there was somebody in TeamSpeak. I don't know whether it was One Pocket Slim at one time, but one of the American guys called it Le Monde, and I said, hang on, hang on a minute here. Listen, if you're going to say that, you're going to have to say it correctly. It's Loch Lomond, not Le Monde, and it's not Loch. There's no K in Loch. It's Loch Lomond, not Le Monde. I mean, I remember watching a. This shows you how long ago it was. Have you heard of the Royal Variety Performance over in the States? Well,
no.
basically, what it is, it's an entertainment thing, right? And loads, even a lot of American stars, Sammy Davis Jr., you name them, all the big American stars back in the day, all appeared on it. It's an entertainment show. It's done for charity, and the Queen or the Royal, the Queen usually attended it at a big theatre in London, right? And one year, Kirk Douglas appeared on it. And he started talking about Edinburgh, but he called it Edinburgh, and that got under my skin as well. That's what gets under my skin when Americans try to say anything Scottish or any place name in Scotland. Right, what's happening here? Save the game. How to save my key mapping seems to be wrong. Well, the point is, if they save the game and we reload it, I don't think you can reload it now, somebody's going to correct me in this. I don't think you can reload the game in another room.
I didn't think you could either.
I think it reloads it at the hard times, but anyway.
No, we can't reload.
Well, this is like the mid-session interval in a normal professional match of snooker, because we're scratching our heads wondering what these two guys are deciding to do.
Doesn't need to. It's raised to 18. We both got 3. Just set a new to 15 in beach. Makes sense.
Right. What was it? Semipro. This is. Hang on a minute. I know what I'm going to do. Just a wee second. Right, so if those guys are listening, it's the same password.
Matt's here. Sure, Semi is on his way. Cobra just hit a 126 on the snooker table in Loch Lomond.
Right, so both players are in. I haven't set lag for break because the match is obviously underway. and I can't remember who last broke. But who broke first? It's got Matt at the table, so
He'll pass it to Semi if it's Semi's turn, I'm sure.
now let me put my camera back to the other setting to see if that makes any difference. Now, where the hell is it? Camera. Down and above. There, that's better. No lampshade. I should have read that text that Semi sent me, and I would have set it here.
All right, and we're back on.
So, 3 frames all.
I would like Steve to weigh in on whether there are any variables in the game other than the actual lights that make the same table play different in a different room, because Semi was insisting that it does, and I'm not so sure.
Rubbish. Steve will laugh up his sleeve at that one. Now, what makes the difference is, and this is where I do agree with Semi. I agree with anybody, but it does make a difference with the lighting that you're used to on the balls, because sometimes that may well be a slight judge in how you're aiming on a ball.
Yeah, if they look different, then that matters.
I mean, look at this room here, right? The first thing about this room is when you go down onto a ball and you look at these reds, this has got a whole stack of windows all round about it. Look at that red. It's got all those windows round about the red ball. Whereas in the Loch Lomond room, you've got a whole crown of the big chandelier, the big wooden chandelier that's above the table, and the lighting's different. The gloss and the reds are different, so therefore it affects how you aim at a ball. It's just it's a brain thing. It's nothing to do with the balls reacting differently or nothing like that. It's purely all what's going on in your head. I mean, I hate the Loch Lomond room because I just don't like the lighting in it, and I don't like the way the light reflects on the balls.
Now, in real life, atmospheric conditions absolutely matter. They can matter even on the same table in the same room. As a pool hall gets crowded, you will notice the pool table is playing differently.
Yeah, I mean,
because the room warms up and gets more humid.
Yeah, you've got the humidity, the moisture goes into the cloth, but that's also why professional snooker tables have got heated slates.
I don't believe that any of those variables actually are accounted for in VP4.
Oh, no.
They're just set to a constant level, and they're going to be that regardless of which room you choose.
If Steve was going to take VP4 to a different level in snooker, then he would put an option to change the temperature of the bed of the table, therefore changing the speed of the cloth. But then again, he would argue against that and say, well, you can change the. No, you can't. Oh, where's this red going? I think it's heading over to the edge of the pocket. Where's the cue ball going? It's just squirted out
in the open.
That's a good. No, I think I'm going to state right now. I actually see since VP4 started, and hand on heart, I can swear this. I have never played with the background off in VP4, so I do not know. But let's have a quick look. But I'm going to say that the windows are reflected on the balls. There is no difference. That's what I'm going to say right now.
I agree, Hugh. I play with the backgrounds off, and they look different on my screen.
Do they?
Yeah.
Where the hell's the background thing in this? I don't even know where it is. Do you know that? I don't even know where the background off is in VP4.
I think it's in graphics. I thought it was in graphics.
I went to graphics and there's nothing.
I can assure you that I have the background off on my screen right now, and I can see all the windows and the reflections on the ball.
Yeah, I thought that. No, I can't find it. That shows you I don't even know how to put the background off in VP4 because I don't know where it is.
I guess probably under MISC.
Ah, there it is. It's under miscellaneous. Right, let's do that. Oh, that's horrible. But then again, the lighting's exactly the same. You've still got all the windows, there's no difference. The only thing that would probably make a difference too would be in hard times where you probably get rid of the lampshade. But I don't like that. No, I don't like it.
You will put the players off if you do it. I don't think they can see that from their end, Cobra.
You think the two guys are scratching their heads in? Who get rid of the beach house? But anyway, Semi's happy now. He's got no excuse.
If Clarky had hit a little bit more of that red, he might have gotten behind the yellow just there. But from that thin, he was never really getting behind.
Now, he's again. I mean, he could put he's lashed out at that straight away. I don't think he got himself set there. He's played that with a bit of right hand side to straighten that cue ball into the bunch of reds. Now, what the hell went there? Did the red go in?
Yeah, he knocked a red in the middle.
But he sort of. Oh, that was Semipro. Sorry, I take it back. I thought it was Matt. Don't tell me I'm out of sync again. Hang on a minute, just to be sure. I was watching a match the other day. I was watching the 8-ball Scottish doubles, and I left the room because the result showed up. I'm thinking, oh, he's about to pot the 8-ball. That's the game over. And hang on a minute. Wait a minute, guys. I'll be back in a minute.
Well, Matt actually put Semi back in because it was a foul, so he had the option for whether to play or not. So when you get back to the room, it will be Semi's turn.
Yes, aye. I watched a match. I think it was the 8-ball US doubles the other night, and one of the players was about to pot the 8-ball, and it was 4 racks all in my screen, and so I left the room. Game over, and I left the room and I looked at the room, and the room's still up. So I went back into the room, and they were playing the final rack decider. I was out of sync for the whole of the match. I was watching it. Right, so Matt's got about an 8-point lead. Semi at the table on the green. Loads of reds to choose from.
Yeah, this isn't.
Again, in all honesty, this frame should be over. I mean, there's not a red that is a problem, provided Semi can get rid of the red that's second above the black. That opens the other red into the other corner pocket. He's just basically got to pick his way through these, and he's going to be unlucky if he doesn't have a shot in a colour. So I can't see where this will go wrong. It's just going to be an unforced error.
Yeah, he's going to have to miss an open shot probably to get Matt back to the table.
Well, the highest break was in the first frame, wasn't it? Well, whatever it was, 61, 62 or 65. It was either of those. We can't remember. Matt had that in the first frame. Semi threw the toys out the pram because I'd set it to the wrong room. And now it's set to the right room. And the match is all square, 3 frames all. And Semi about to go into the lead. Commentator's curse.
Well, he needs to get on the black in order to make room for the red that is currently just above the black to pot.
That's perfect on the blue.
Once he does that, once he gets that one out of the way, then the one below the pink isn't a problem anymore. But when things have to be done in just a certain order, that always puts more pressure on your cue ball positioning.
That's where the art of every billiard or pool game comes into play. Having to get to that spot. Now he could go inside left English here, as you guys say, to come over the other side of this red, and that's what he's doing. He's
played it pretty nicely.
He's landed on it pretty well. So that's now going to free up that last red behind the pink, and then there's the two reds that are over left and right. There isn't a problem with them. The one that's closest to the cushion's fine, and well, he's got a good angle in the black, just again to get up the table far enough so he can open the angle up on this red. I mean, he could go the right side to get on the other red, and that's what he's doing. He's maybe just overhit that slightly. He's still got the shot.
Oh no, that is weird.
What's happened?
LS just pointed out that the break counter is funny on this break. Semi's been at the table for a lot. The break counter keeps resetting.
Where?
He's on a break. On the scoreboard, it says he's on a break of 1.
That's good. Is Steve there?
It's been resetting every time he makes a red.
That's
back to 1.
That is a bug that I think was in snooker a long time ago.
Huh.
All right.
Well, so we don't know what this break was unless we remember what the score was when he started.
Is Steve there? Steve needs to see this.
It's the same on my screen. It keeps resetting also. It's not just yours.
Now, bear in mind I left the room, so it's nothing to do with being out of sync.
No, and on my VP4 game from here, it's doing it too.
Right, so this is since the restart, it's effectively the 7th frame where this has happened. That's interesting. That is very interesting. I never even noticed that. Thank God somebody noticed that. Steve needs to see that one. I wonder if the two guys noticed that.
I don't know. I wonder if it's still going to be happening into this next frame. Q spamming the match chat.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if either of them noticed that. I mean, again, if you're playing at the table and you're focusing, you're not really noticing that, but I don't think either of them noticed. I certainly didn't notice, because again, I'm too busy focusing on what's going on the table.
No, I didn't notice it until I saw LS's.
Yeah, Matt noticed it. Well, that's a definite bug, but it is. I'm certain that that's a bug that was in VP4 a long time ago during testing, and Steve thought he'd fixed it. And when, to be honest with you, I haven't heard anybody playing snooker who've said that they've seen that issue until tonight. So, it'll be easy enough to find it in the video, because we know that after 6 frames, we went to this room and it's in the first frame. It's in the first frame in this room, so that's going to be easy to find in the video.
And it was after Semi fouled and Matt passed it back to him.
Now, you see, that there is part of the bug, because I remember that being part of the bug. I'm pretty certain it was. Steve will know better, because he'll remember it. But, that's very interesting, because that's a long time since that's raised its ugly head, that one.
All right, now is this break going to go to 12, or is it going to go back to...
Yeah, that's fine.
So it's working again.
Yeah, that was always... Laddie, do you remember that originally in VP4? Did you remember hearing about it or reading about it on Mantis? About it reset? I'm sure we had this bug before. But, I mean, we're talking right at the beginning of VP4. And it did used to happen on the passback option. So, whatever's happened... Well, we're going to blame it on those guys. They broke it. It was nothing to do with me. I just set the room. So the run ends in 21.
Semi apologizes for leaving Matt frozen to this red ball. It's not actually frozen, I guess. It's not declared a touching ball, but he can't see an offensive opportunity.
And again, if this was real life snooker, you couldn't just push into that red like he might end up doing, because that would be a foul. That would be a push shot like that. You couldn't do what he just did there. That's an illegal shot in professional snooker.
Not possible to shoot directly towards the ball you're a millimeter from without fouling. Larry says you can do that without pushing. In real life, Larry? In pool, you're allowed to if they're frozen. In snooker, you have to shoot away if they're frozen.
Yeah. But even at such close quarter, I mean, that cue ball wasn't touching the red, but that shot that Semi just played there, you cannot do that in proper snooker. The referee would be all over that like a rash and call that as a foul.
Yeah, and in pool, it should be a foul too if it's proven with snow. I think you're thinking of frozen balls, Larry. If they're a millimeter apart, there's no way you're not going to double hit them. Not shooting towards the ball. You'd have to be shooting, to hit them thinly.
Here's a touching ball here for Semipro, so he can bail out up table. Now, I
guess he didn't like his angles to get up table.
Well, that's the only thing I could think of there about, if he could get behind the black, he might have been able to put something in the cue ball to get it running up table. But again, Matt's taking the bait. He's able to see a red, and then he decided he's going to have a go at it. And now he's given Semi a start, albeit not an easy one, and he can't do an awful lot. See, again, Semi's gone all out to get the pot and try and get the cue ball out for the black or the blue. So with that shot there, you have to play at a pace to give it every chance for the red to go in. And you could still cut the black in.
He's just on this open red. Oh, he's on a color. What am I doing?
Now, this is not, I mean, to be honest with you, he should be taking the black here, because there's a red at the back of the bunch he can easily get on.
Yeah, with outside English off the black to
go
around.
He's missed the blue. He could have easily potted that black. The cue ball was always coming around for the red at the back of the bunch. The black would have been back on its spot, and he'd have been in the game.
I think he'd have needed a good deal of right English to make it around the pack, because he was a little bit thin on the black, but that was all very doable. And what he did instead did not work. Ronnie O'Sullivan was incorrectly assessed a foul on a short range double hit kind of situation, Michael.
What the professional snooker players do when they're tip-tapping in amongst the reds, trying to keep things safe, which usually a hasten to add ends up in a stalemate and then the frame getting restarted. One trick that players use is a missed cue shot. And you look, anybody who's watched snooker over the years will have seen it done. What the player does is when the red and the cue ball are very close, what they'll do is they'll aim away from the red but miscue the cue ball by putting maybe extreme left or right on it and skimming the cue ball just so that it miscues, but it pushes the cue ball onto the red. And I mean, that's played and it's still a legal shot. And you don't do any damage by, knocking a red into play or anything like that. There's quite a few times I've seen that in the game. And you can do it in VP4 as well. You can just play the miscue.
It's even easier in VP4 because you can the miscues are more predictable.
Yep.
Than they are in real life.
So where we are now is we are 3 frames all. We've got Semipro at the table, and he's in reasonable shape at the moment with at least 4 reds to play for. He may well have to cut that one. Well, is he cutting the one in the middle, or you could cut the blue in and go up for the yellow? Sorry, cut the red to the left of the blue and go up for the yellow. And he's trying to hold for the black.
Well, the blue is now tied up.
Yeah.
So that might...
Now, both of these players have made wrong shot choices in my interpretation of how they should be playing. Wrong shot choices because, again, they're both very aggressive. And, of course, you live or die by that choice. The shot where the red was to the left of the blue was a fairly straightforward pot to pot that red, get back up for the yellow, and then get yourself back in play. He went for the tougher cut into the side to try and hold for the black. And what it's done is it's given Matt a chance to reduce the deficit here. Now, what you should be thinking now is how do I do damage to where this red and blue is, or the reds and blue are? And the answer to that is the red next to those 2 reds to the left of the blue, the top one goes. So what you want to do is get an angle to be able to pot that red and then open things up. But the problem with that shot is you're going to have to probably come away from the reds to get up table for a bulk colour. You can't guarantee you're going to be on. What happened there? Foul and a miss.
Did he designate the wrong ball again?
I think that's what he's done. I've missed that because we're ranting on about this red ball, but that's what he's probably done. He's done a VP3 mistake again.
Semi's confused about what happens.
Yeah, he's called the wrong colour.
He has to have. That's the only... Yeah, because he shot a color straight into the pocket, so the only way that could be a foul and a miss is if he designated a different one.
The way to find out is if Semi hit the replay, would have found out.
Yeah, he's got to figure out why that's happening. He can't afford those mistakes.
Well, I'll tell you why it's happening, because he's looking at the table and he's thinking about what his next ball's going to be, and he's made a choice by hitting the number button, and then he's changed his mind on the colour, and he's then went to the colour. Bear in mind he hasn't looked at the HUD and realised that he's already chosen a colour, and he's chosen a different colour, and therefore he's fouled. So that's twice he's done it in a match.
Well, if that's what he's doing, then he needs to stop hitting the number buttons.
Well, what he has to do is hit the S button and look at the HUD, and then you know for sure that you've chosen that colour.
Or just don't hit the S button or a number button until you're ready to actually shoot the ball, in which case it'll never nominate the wrong one.
There's that top red gone. The top red has gone now, and you've got one more red that's now opened to the left of the blue.
And an angle to draw back and get on the reds.
Now, that kiss in the pink actually may well have done him a favour there, because he's now got the angle on the red where he can run off the blue.
Uh-huh.
And that's
a little thin.
Yeah, it's not. Could have done with running a wee bit more of that blue. Now let's have a look at the red. And I think the answer to this is he should be ducking in behind the green and brown.
Yeah, and he came to the same conclusion. Obviously, he's behind the blue also.
Now let's have a look and see what he's got. Well, there's a cigarette paper's edge of that red showing. And the trouble is he's hitting it so thin he wants to try and get it onto the rail. And if this doesn't bounce too heavy, he's got a good safety.
Yep. Got the cover. Ooh. That was always coming close to that pocket. He was never...
Well, he's got...
that thin, he was never going to get...
Matt's in trouble here. He's nailed to the black.
Two different, pretty straightforward one-rail kicks. But pretty straightforward. There's still small balls on a big table.
Now that'll be a foul and miss, but Semi has now got the open red and all the balls are on. And he's got a 30-point lead, so this red...
The red, really.
It leaves Matt needing snookers.
And Semi's just going to run out anyway.
Now, it's 4-3 to Semi at the moment, and this will be 5-3, so this will be effectively the end of the session. Let me just ask them.
Standard hasn't improved greatly at the beach. Cobra never pulls his punches, I've noticed.
Yeah. So that's the end of the first session, and Semipro is leading by 5 frames to 3 until we complete the formalities. So one of them should bail out and save the game. In fact, both should. Next Sunday.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me join in on this, Hugh. This is fun.
Right. So it's going to be next week for the second session. Another 8 frames, I would assume. Thanks for Hair Pig for joining us, and thanks for you guys joining us as well. And thanks for the fact that we've got proof that the old reset bug is back in the snooker. Steve probably still knows about it, he just hasn't bothered his arse to fix it. Anyway, I'll soon be reminding him about it though. Anyway, that is it, guys. Thanks for watching, take care, stay safe, and we will see you again soon, and good night to Hair Pig.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Good night, ladies.
Yeah, so this song that's playing now, Hugh, what's that one called?
Hang on a minute. That song is on YouTube's audio files that you can put onto your stream, and they don't have any copyright infringement. It's actually called Who's Using Who. by the Mini Vandals.
Okay. Good to know.
This one here, what one is it? That one, where the hell is it? That one is called Like Lee, as in Lee Trevino or Bruce Lee, Like Lee, and again it's the Mini Vandals. But they're all on YouTube if you want to filter through YouTube's audio files. You can download them, doesn't cost you anything. And you don't get struck for copyright on YouTube either.
Trouble
All right,
with
well,
Scotland
that's
is that it's full of
fascinating.
Scots.